Hello, my name is Jeffet, and so for our application, for our final project, we created the rental application, and for this we used Reactjs as our framework to handle the UI and be our controller for the user. And then in the back end, we're using MangoDB, and we also had to create an API using Node to connect to MongoDB. So this is the essential flow of the application. The user connects to the browser, and using links, they're able to invoke actions that are controlled by the React application, and React gets data from the API, which connects to the API, which connects to the database, and then sends that information back to React. And React is then able to update the view, and then the browser is also updated for the user. So that's the essential flow that our application goes through. So to begin with, this is the Node server that we had to create to connect to Node, to create to MongoDB. And essentially what we had was using these routes, a user would be able to connect to an endpoint and say they wanted to get information about products. They would come in here and then use a GET request, and based on the endpoint, so for example here, this would just be /products and nothing else in front of it. So that would just be a request that would get all of the product objects that are inside the database. Same thing for post over here. This would essentially just allow the admin, the owner of the store, to update the store. And then you can also get by ID, and it would return your JSON object with that with the object that has a specific ID. And then patch allows to update and then deletes an object from the database. And we have different objects. We have users, and this is the schema for the users, where you have email and password. Products have name, price, image, which would be a string containing a URL to the card server, where our images are being stored for this. And then a category, which would be what category that vehicle falls under. And then orders would be the same thing, price and string. So that's pretty much it for the server. And for testing, we were using an application called Postman, and this is essentially it. So if I wanted to do I'm going to do npm start, and if I wanted to get all of our products, we could just do that, and then it would return us this JSON of objects. And this is Aliyah is going to go forward and explain how this is working, but then this is what you would get once the UI gets that JSON object. And then also in the UI, the user can search through, and since we're using React, and React has a state, and part of our state we're using the product, which is that big JSON, we're able to filter through the JSON object based on what the user is typing in here, and it makes it super responsive and nice to use. And also, if you add something, it would show up on your cart. So let's just say that, and you can say you wanted it for 2 days, and the price would update accordingly. But yeah, so Aliyah is gonna go on and explain to you how the UI is rendering this page given the data it's getting from the API.
My name is Aaliyah Cobham, and I will be discussing how we display information on our user interface through the use of rendering. So when our page first loads, it first makes a request to the API, which then gets the data and stores it in the state of the application. It takes the object, for example, a product, which has an image, name, and price, and it takes all of that product related information and renders it to some page using some HTML, which you can find over here. This is a search capability in our user interface. It filters out the characters that a user inputs and returns the product that matches that user input. And additionally, we also have an isAdded method that is used to display to the user through rendering again that their product has been added to the cart.